Hi everyone, Amy here with Amy's Wares, and today I'm going to show you how I fill up my binder, and this is going to be a Christmas edition. Here I'm going to show you kind of a hodgepodge. This is actually my basket that I store all my Christmas stuff, my stamps, my dies, all these little random die cuts or sentiment strips, things like that. I realized recently that I kind of had them all over the place. I had some in this already sentiment strip binder, I had some in that bucket. It was just kind of all over the place, and it was wasting time as I was starting to make Christmas cards, trying to figure out where all the things were. So I'm going to fill up some of these pockets here with what I have on hand, and then I'm also going to show you how I'm going to fill it up even further with some other stuff from my stash. So I have this sped up really quickly because it's pretty clear what I'm doing, but I'm kind of separating out this batch. This is one of those stamps where you stamp it once and then you die cut a bunch of it out with one fell swoop. It's like one solid die. This is an old stamp set. If it's still available, I'll link it below, but it's from Simon Says Stamp. And I'm kind of just sectioning off like the little strips and the bigger ones and then the little fiddly ones. And basically I'm showing you here I'm using two different types of pockets. The first ones that I showed you, I was able to fill a little bit thicker because there's a little bit of a 1/4 inch lip on the top that helps hold it in. But I think I like these original ones without the lip because they work better for like sentiment strips that are a little bit longer. So you'll see that's the type that I'm using here. So both have their value, both have their purpose, but I think one is not necessarily greater than the other, but these are all baseball card pocket protector sheets. Now here's a smattering of dies. I also realized when I was making Christmas cards that I didn't have a lot of stuff ready to go. And you guys know me, you know I like to not be slowed down when I'm in a groove. So if I'm making a bunch of backgrounds or cool cards, I don't want to stop in the middle of it and start die cutting out specific sentiments. So I decided to pull a bunch of my dies out of my stash and just batch a bunch of these. So I kind of dedicated, I don't know, about an hour this afternoon just to kind of cut as much of this stuff out as I can. That's my awesome pokey tool that my friend Judy sent me. I love it so much. But basically I'm using all different brands. They're all Christmas or holiday. Some are LDRS, some are Paper Rose. I have that Feliz Navidad because I have a lot of native Spanish speaking friends and my daughter's bilingual, and it's just nice to have that variation for my Christmas cards. But basically what I'm doing is keeping them all taped together. So I'd already run it through my die cutting machine once, and you can see I was able to pull the whole thing up and just transport the whole thing over onto another sheet. So that's another way to really save time, is keep all these dies kind of taped together and then just start using up your scraps, which is what I was just showing you there. I have a little bucket of white paper scraps, so it was nice to kind of tap into those and kind of use some of that up. But I'm going to do the exact same thing with this white layer. I'm going to tape all these dies together and then just remove the whole sheet of dies onto the next piece of cardstock. And what you can see I'm doing here is one of the tricks to filling up my binder. I always get asked how I choose what colors, what type of cardstock. I tend to stick with a lot of neutrals, so blacks, whites, golds, silver cardstocks, those kind of things. If I had a little bit more time or energy, maybe I would cut up some pattern paper as well. But really, I kind of wanted to stick to the neutrals. You can see I'm transferring over this onto another scrap sheet of white cardstock. And you can see I have a ton already kind of piled up. So this is going to make it so much easier for me when I really sit down and start cranking out the Christmas cards. Because if you guys are like me, you have to make a bunch of them. So I do not want to spend the time to just die cut individual dies. I want to have a whole bunch to choose from so it doesn't slow me down and I can really kind of assembly line crank out some cards. So here I have some 6x6 metallic cardstock, and look at these piles that I've amassed. So now I'm just going to pick and choose. I have the white with some variations of gold cardstock. I have black with white. You could do white with black. So I find those striking colors are just very versatile because they kind of go with everything. So it doesn't really matter whether you're doing traditional Christmas colors or bright colors or pattern paper. When you have these neutrals for your sentiments, it makes it really easy. These I was showing you, I just kind of cut around them and then I put a piece of tape on the back to hold those tittles in. So those will make it kind of more sturdy when I store them, and it'll also kind of keep those little tittles in place. So this is half a sheet of microdot sheets. I'm using these to attach the word portion to the shadow portion. And all of these really curly Q ones, these are all LDRS Creative. It's a small woman-owned business in Michigan. I got these last year and I absolutely love them. They're a little bit fiddly to pull out when you're kind of popping them out of the cardstock. You may want to use a metal shim. I actually didn't use a metal shim at all today, but it's always a good idea if you're worried that it might not cut all the way through. I don't know if you noticed there, but I actually flipped the sheet over to kind of avoid getting some of the dots on the front of the die cut. Somebody told me that tip recently, that they kind of cut down their little piece of micro dots and then use the other backside of the top sheet instead of the other one, and that's how they're able to avoid getting a bunch of glue dots. And that did definitely seem to help. So now I have it really sped up. Again, I'm just going to fill up these pockets. It's so satisfying to have so much of this ready to go. The Feliz Navidad ones are kind of big. So another thing I like about these is I just kind of tear down along the perforation and make myself a bigger pocket. So that's a fun option if you have a bigger die cut. I have all these gorgeous little Merry Christmas ones from Paper Rose, some good tidings with variations. And then here I decided to just kind of compile all these into the one. I left that one aside because there was a bunch of die cut strings. I wanted to clean that up. I went through and I cut a bunch more. I have some Hero Arts here. I don't remember all the brands. I got a scrapbook one, but those circle ones, the cheer and the joy, those were pretty big. So I did kind of make some custom sized pockets and tore down the perforation on those as well. I kind of got a little nuts and tore a little too hard and ripped it, but I put some washi tape on there. It'll be just as good as new. These joy ones, I put some vellum layers for the shadow, and this one I have the tittle taped to some mint tape so I don't lose it. But here is the satisfying end product of my dedicated hour or so in my craft room. So if you're not feeling particularly creative, maybe dedicate some time to cut out some sentiments and have them ready to go. Here I'm going to just put them back in here. I was debating on grabbing a whole new binder for Christmas, but I thought, I'm just going to use this sentiment strip binder. So this will be my sentiment strip binder / holiday Christmas card sentiments. So this will save me a ton of time. I'm going to put these extra ones in that pocket and the folder in the back, and there you go. So that's how I fill up my Christmas binder. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please hit the thumbs up and consider subscribing, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.